friends. I'm your host, Erin Port, and welcome to the Simple Purposeful Living podcast. Life can be overwhelming and busy, so once a week, I invite you to join me, and together we will make simple tweaks to uncomplicate the hard parts of our life so we can spend more time doing what we love. Welcome back to the Simple Purposeful Living podcast. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome Kendra Adachi, also known as the Lazy Genius, to the Simple Purposeful Living podcast. Kendra is all about being a genius about the things that matter and lazy about the things that don't. She's the best-selling author of the New York Times bestseller, The Lazy-Genius Way, and she has a new book coming out called The Plan, which is all about compassionate time management. I can't wait to talk to her about this today. Welcome to the show, Kendra.
Oh, thanks for having me, Erin. It's great to be here.
Well, it's a pinch me moment because I have been a longtime fan of your work. The Lazy Genius Way is just one of my favorites. And so I don't really need to introduce you, but let's talk a little bit about why you decided to write The Plan.
Yeah, well, thank you for reading Lazy Genius Way. It's so nice when people are interested in that book. So I actually thought that was going to be the only book I wrote because it felt so comprehensive to me. You know, it's these 13 principles that anybody can apply to any situation, no matter your personality, your life stage, or any of those things. Because I got tired of like trying to put together hacks from lots of different experts to make my life work. And I thought, man, if we could have just some underlying principles to live by, wouldn't this be really nice? And some are practical, some are like a little more intangible and kind of like on a soul or relationship level. But then I started to realize that in my own life, I was applying those principles to a time management paradigm that we've all grown up in. And it still wasn't really fully working. Like I still felt like I was trying really hard to get my days to line up the way that I wanted them to and for my life to look the way that I thought it was supposed to. And so I started doing some digging. I've read every time management book under the sun. And I saw something that made me go, huh, interesting. And it was that 93% of the like best-selling books about time management are written by men. And men have a lot of great things to say. They're wonderful teachers. It's great. But like 93%? What in the world? And then I started to think like, well, wait a minute, dudes don't like typically run households also while working. Or, you know, they're the ones who are like nurturing kids and like typically, not always, but like typically staying home when a kid is sick. I know I wanted my mom when I was sick, you know, like all of these things that I started to think about that women have, periods, everyone, periods. So there are lots of things that men don't have that really impact how you live your life and manage your time. And I thought, well, this is weird. What's going on? And then as I dug more, I felt like I was sort of in either you could pick the Matrix or you could pick the Barbie movie. When in the Matrix, Neo's like red pill or blue pill. Do you want to see what's really going on under the surface? Do you want to know, or do you just want to live in oblivion? Or Barbie, do you want the Barbie heel of the Birkenstock to find out what's going on? And what I sort of uncovered when I put on the Birkenstock was that this paradigm, this time management paradigm that we live in America especially, is so out of alignment with how most people want to actually live. The industry tells us to be great and to optimize everything and to replicate our ideal days and to determine this future that we want so desperately. And then we reverse engineer those goals to get to where we are today. And then we basically just like, all right, here we go. Hop on that train. Let's serve this invisible future and make sure that every day is in service of that and is also like really great. Like you do a good job. And I thought, man, that's exhausting. I don't want to live that way. And so this book, I wrote the plan, and it was really like Mary Poppins' bag, like her carpet bag. You know, you just keep like pulling out more magical things. I'm like, man, this lamp, this is solid. Let's put this in the room too. Like it was really fun to kind of find this new paradigm as I wrote the book over, a year. And I want to offer an alternative to people who are tired of feeling like they have to be great and that every day has to be so awesome, and that anything less than your plan is kind of a failure. I
Mm.
just think that is not an energy any of us need, but especially not what women and particularly moms need. So the plan is the alternative to that paradigm.
I love that. It's funny because my sister lives overseas and we have this conversation about American productivity and European productivity. And my kids are like, they take so many more vacations. I'm like,
I know.
but it's this, it
Yeah.
is, and you hit on that. And so the next thing, I kind of touch on it a little bit, but you call this compassionate time management. Can you explain what that means and how it can help people find better boundaries with their life or better balance?
Yeah. So if you think about time management books that you might have read, I don't know that I've ever read any that I finish and I'm like warm and fuzzy. Like that's just not something that tends to happen. You're like, well, I guess we need a new planner. We got to
Yeah.
make new lists. We got a new chore chart. We've got, it's all of these systems that we feel compelled to set up in order to sort of match this expectation that we think we're supposed to have. And I believe deeply that instead of making the goal greatness, that you can make your goal, I'm going to be myself today.
Mm,
I'm going to be an integrated, grounded person, kind to myself, have self compassion. I'm going to be soft towards myself today.
mm,
I'm going to be soft towards my kids today. I'm going to be soft towards my partner, towards my coworkers, towards whoever today. And when I'm not, because no one is all the time, when I'm not, I'm still going to be kind to myself about that because repair is part of relationships.
mm,
And that's a way that we can teach each other how to be people with each other. Like that goal feels like so human and restful and contented in my body when I think about that, where I'm like, oh, wow, the goal of how I manage my time today is to be integrated, is to be kind and myself no matter my circumstances. Because we have been taught that the thing to control is our time, is our circumstances. We hear the whole like, the only thing you control is your reaction, what happens to you, which is, true. But that's still like under this umbrella of, but if the circumstances are against what is in your plan,
mm,
then you're doing something wrong. Then
mm,
you need to like, you're on the wrong path. Your dream is not big enough. It's all of you're not trying hard enough. You don't have enough self discipline. You're breaking future promises to
mm,
yourself. Like, there's just this like really like mean girl energy
mm,
in the productivity space that I don't like. And so that's what I want to bring as an alternative is this compassionate posture that we have towards ourselves and towards our time, that the direction that we're going doesn't always have to be this invisible future that we're trying to manufacture and control. Like good is here today.
mm,
Today has its own needs. Today probably has a lot on the table, on its plate. And so what if we were to be who we are and start today? It doesn't mean you can't think about the future or have dreams or make plans or even want to be great. Like those are not wrong things at all. They're all neutral. But if you start there, you're always going to be behind.
mm. That's
So
true.
instead, I want us to learn how to start compassionately with who we are, where we are today.
I love that. I love that you said we've never finished a book on productivity and felt warm and fuzzy.
No one.
And I think you always say big sister energy. I always say I'm your biggest hype squad. I was a cheerleader in high school, and I really felt like that's just really my calling as an adult too, to do like
I love
hype
it.
for somebody. Because yeah, I think we're all trying the best that we can, and we do. We always come feeling behind or like defeated. I agree. That's so true. Okay, so let's get practical because to-do lists, I tell you, we have you know, how can we make them they often feel left they feel overwhelming. So what tips do you offer for making them more manageable and less stressful?
Well, there's a whole chapter about to-do lists in the plan. So if you love a to-do list or you hate a to-do list and you want a new way of looking at it, there's so many words about it in the book, which is really fun because I personally love a to-do list. But I think the one thing I would encourage people to think about is no matter your relationship to-do lists and how you make them, there is not a single approach that works for everyone. We all know that to a point. I'm just reminding you. But I think something we don't remember very often is that you, as a human being, as an individual, will likely require different approaches to your to-do list
Mm.
based on your season of life, based on your energy, based on where you are in your cycle, based on all what do you have on your plate. Like I think when I during the summertime, I like hardly ever make to-do lists in the same way that I do in the fall because it's just a different energy. Like I am kind of working from home, but my husband is a school counselor, and so he has like 6 weeks off in the summer, which is so fun. And we don't live our lives based on a list.
Mm.
It's we just sort of are responsive in that kind of summer way.
Yep.
Not everybody has the do that, but like there are different ways that we all need to approach our to-do list. And so just recognizing that like if you are if you have made your to-do list the same way for a year, 5 years, whatever, and you're like, "Man, this is just not working for me anymore." The problem is not you. The problem is not that you have to come up with some huge new system. It might just be stepping back and going, "Okay, what season am I in right now? Like why is this way that worked in a previous season maybe not really working for me so well anymore?" I have some friends who, especially when they're on their period and leading up to it, because none of us like ourselves very much in those couple of weeks, and they're like, please don't make me make a to-do list because all I see is what is undone. That's
Mm.
all I see. And so it could be, I have a friend who she writes down something on her to-do list after it's finished.
I do too. It's
Yeah, like
free.
it's so freeing. And so I think that that's one of the things I want people to walk away with after reading the plan, other than sort of this like hopefully very comforting paradigm shift, is this permission that you're going to need different tools in different seasons of life. You're going to need different tools in different weeks of the month based on what is going on. Like there is nothing wrong with changing your mind
Mm.
and trying something else. It doesn't mean that you have to start from scratch. It just means that you can pivot just a little bit
Yes.
and go. One of the lazy genius principles is to start small. Like please don't start big. No, starting big does not work.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work. So start small with what's currently like sort of working, but maybe not a lot, and go, okay, well, what really matters to me in the season right now? Why is this thing maybe not working? Is there something that's in the way? Maybe I need to move this thing over here in my brain or on the paper, or maybe the writing it down. I just can't, I don't take my notebook with me all the time and I need to move to something digital. Or maybe I just really like the process of using a pen and I miss that because
Mm.
my whole job is digital right now. And I
Mm.
would really, really love to, like just pay attention to who you are and what you need right now. And you can adjust how you approach even something like a to-do list on a pretty regular basis.
I love that because I'm all about making tiny tweaks, simple little adjustments, because we so often think if something's broken, then we need a huge, like you said, solution. And really, oftentimes, it's the tiniest little tweak that can make the profound difference in your life. So, even thinking about that from a to do list standpoint, like, okay, why is this not working? What is a tweak I can make? We try again tomorrow, and then we tweak our way to finding success in this season. I love that. Okay, so in the plan, you talk about integrating personal values into daily time management. Can you share some practical tiny tweaks people can do to do this?
Yeah, I think we forget that we're not robots. Like we just need to remember that. And the things that make us human are the things that we personally value. And we're all going to have, obviously, we are a wide world and there are a lot of people with different ways that they see it. And I think that's what makes it great.
Hmm.
So to kind of name, like I think for me, one of the things that's been really compelling for me is almost this idea of greatness, because kind of culturally that's something that's like seemingly a shared value. Like in many ways it is the American dream,
Hmm.
like reach your potential, keep trying, keep fighting, anybody can achieve anything. And I think that's a beautiful energy. Like it's one of the things that makes America really unique. So I think that's really great. But for me, and one of my personal values is humility.
Mm,
And that doesn't mean that someone who is humble can't do great things
mm,
or seek to meet potential or any of that. But if that's I want humility and contentment to be the engine that drives my decisions more than greatness and achievement.
mm,
And when you start to name those things for yourself, I mean, that's not like a tweak necessarily. Those are like two just very different words. But when you just name, like, wow, what do I really value? What do I want to be the fuel behind my daily decisions?
mm,
What it does is it kind of releases the pressure of falling in line with a belief system, a productivity belief system that actually is not for you. It's like, oh, I don't really want to do this. Like, it's having the permission when you go to all the school open houses and you see the signups for, like who can bring, we're having root beer floats. We need somebody to bring vanilla ice cream and the root beer and the cups and da 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 da. And rather than going into that and being like, oh, I'm going to look like such a bad parent
mm.
if I don't sign up for something, or knowing it's a busy week. Like this literally happened to me last week. I got the email, I got the thing, and I was like, okay, I don't have to swoop in and save the day.
Mm,
I don't have to be the best classroom mom.
mhm.
Now, what I will do is I'm going to come back and I'm going to look at this thread in 3 days. And if because they need it at the end of the week. And if people haven't volunteered for the stuff, I'll just tell the teacher I'll just do a Walmart delivery to the school and it'll just all show up and it'll be
Yeah.
fine. Like but like and when I went back to check, it was all done.
Yep.
There were lots of people like, oh, I'm so excited. Yay, I'll send ice cream. And like people are happy to do things. That's like a very tiny example, but it was, I didn't feel bad about that because
Mm,
I don't have to be the greatest mom in the room. No one
mm,
even knows like it doesn't matter. And so when you kind of step back and go like, what is really driving my decisions? It just releases the shoulds and the
mm,
pressure and the guilt of what you think you're supposed to be doing.
mm,
And then it gives you like space to name what it is you want to do. Like I want to be a helpful school mom. I want to show up and I want to be helpful, but I don't have to do it every time in every single context in order for it to count. Like if you have a busy week, it's okay for you to not bring plates.
yep.
It's okay. So that's naming how you see the world and what you want to fuel your decisions, whatever it might be, offers so much clarity for the
Yes.
daily decisions that you make.
I love that. I was thinking so often mine is motivated by love, right? But it doesn't have to be fancy, like you said. Like last week, I had to take football food to the football team. Like that's a little overwhelming because not only am I
Yeah.
cooking for the other moms, I'm cooking for football players. And my son was like, "Bring Kraft macaroni and cheese, mom." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, that's right. That's right. The
And I
football players
like
do
you
not
said,
seem to
because
be
we
picky.
but we put so much pressure on ourselves, and I think we look around and we see all these other and we think that's what we have to be like, and so it feels like your plan is the plan is kinda taking the pressure off a little bit,
It is.
taking the pressure off, which we need. I feel like it's like we just need to be like, "It's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay."
It's okay.
It's
It's
okay if you don't
okay.
cross the thing off your list. It's okay. You're not a bad person.
You're not a bad person. No,
Yeah.
so much of this is so neutral
Yes.
and it's been given a lot more value than it needs to have.
And it bogs us down, adds to the overwhelm and the feelings of shame that I have no problem just putting on myself anyway, as
Right,
much as
exactly.
you do.
Exactly.
Okay, one more question. What's a common time management myth? I'm very curious what you think. What's a common time management myth you think needs to be debunked, especially for busy women?
So I think that for women in particular, I don't want women to think that you have to have big dreams in order for your life to matter.
Ooh.
You can. You
Mm,
can. There's nothing wrong with having big, beautiful dreams. But I know I have been marketed to for 2 decades to be a big dreamer.
mm,
And almost like if you don't have some big vision of why you're on this earth and that you're not trying hard enough, you're not dreaming big enough, that you need to go back to the drawing board because everyone, again, it's kind of like adjacent to that sort of
Mhm.
American dream thing. And I don't have the energy as a mom to make dinner,
Yeah.
like let alone dream big.
Yeah.
And so especially in, like really busy, active parenting seasons, which is most of motherhood. It just takes different forms.
Mm,
To go ahead and say to yourself, it's not that you don't say to yourself, I don't have big dreams and that's okay. You can. But start with, I don't have to have big dreams for my life to matter.
amen.
I
Yep.
don't have to have big dreams for my life to matter. And what that does, that's relevant to dreamers and non-dreamers
Mhm.
because your big dreams don't lead you to a life that matters.
Mhm.
And not having them does not devalue your life that matters.
Mhm.
So to say to yourself, I don't have to have big dreams for my life to matter. I know that's like broad, like that's more in the,
Mhm.
kind of like the goals bucket, so to speak. But time management and goals they are boyfriend and girlfriend. They do not go anywhere without each other in the productivity industry. And so that's why I think starting from debunking stuff like that really has such a beautiful trickle down effect to how we live our everyday lives
Mhm.
because we can experience contentment where we are.
Mhm.
And contentment is so rad. It's like so beautiful to be where you are, no matter your circumstances, and to go, good is here right now. Not in a like toxic positivity way, but
Mhm.
in a genuine, my feet are on the ground. I
Mhm.
am who I am right here. I can make it through this thing. It's okay that I didn't get this thing done. Like all of those things that we can say in response to those mean voices in our heads of
Mhm.
should have gotten more done, or I can't believe this, or you should call her back because she's going to be mad at you. I don't know, all those different things that we go to that go through our minds when we're trying to sleep at night. And one of those I think is my life enough. I think that's one of the things that moms hear is like, is my life enough? What am I even doing? Does this
Mm.
even matter? And it does. It
It
just
does.
does.
It does. I think that's a good word. It does. It does matter. Yeah, and I think we all feel that, right? Like, am I far enough along? I own a business, and unless you're making X amount of dollars, is it successful? And it's like I have purposely chosen to know that the season of young kids is only going to be so long, and so that means my business is smaller, and I'm okay with that. But it messes with your mind.
It messes with your mind. It does. And it's because it's no fault of anyone who has those thoughts. Again, you're not the problem. It's just what the water we swim in teaches us.
Mhm. Mhm.
And we need new water. We need
Yeah.
to swim in new water.
I know. And my therapist, you were speaking my therapist language. I was like, did you call Elizabeth today? But she always says, be curious. Don't assume, be curious. And kind of like what you were talking about with like stepping back and just be curious. Like, why am I feeling this way? What is going on in my heart? I think that that is so valuable and such a tiny but purposeful tweak we can make. Like, why am I feeling this way?
Absolutely.
Is it the world that's made me feel this way? Is it, whatever. So, okay, rapid fire questions. Okay. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Oh my gosh. I am so annoyingly both. Here's my deal. I want to wake up early, love an early morning, and then I want to take like a 2 hour nap from like
Oh,
10 to 12. That's what I want to do. I don't want to sleep in because I miss the morning, but I
yes.
don't want to, the late morning, I want to sleep. So if that, and then stay up late, that's like
I
my perfect day.
love it. I love it. You own it. That's great. Okay, favorite way to unwind.
Read.
Mm. What's on your nightstand right now?
I'm on an Abby Jimenez kick right now. She's just like speaking my language. So I was in a reading rut for like all of the summer for me. And now I'm just like, give me all of Abby. Abby's like brought me back to life. It's
Okay,
great.
I'm reading one of hers right now too, and I can't think of what it's about.
The
Oh,
one that's the most recent is Just for the Summer.
okay.
And
That's
then,
not mine.
yeah, Part of Your World, Yours Truly, Just for the Summer. And then The Friend Zone.
Yes, that's the one I'm reading.
The
The friend.
Friend Zone. Yes, I read the Friend Zone was the first one I read, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love her so much. Why is she so great?
I
So
was like,
yeah,
I'm actually looking forward to the carpool today because I'm like, I think I can take it and read 5 minutes.
that's right. You can. You don't. That's one of the upsides of carpool. You get to read.
Oh, okay. So if you learn nothing else, go pick up one of her books.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're great.
What's one time management habit you wish you'd learned sooner?
Oh my gosh. Slowness,
Mm,
because every day is like get her done, build it big, make a list, color code it. Like that's how I'm my default.
mm-hmm.
And so I know that's not really as much of a habit as it is like it is a daily choice for me to go slow down right now.
I seriously, like, did you just wake up and come into my head? Because this morning I have been practicing. Have you ever heard of it's called like the Schultz hour or something like that? I
I
don't
don't
know.
think
It's
so.
basically like you practice just stillness. So like walking without anything in your ears, without your phone, just being. And I'm just
Yeah.
practicing. That sounds weird, but just being like
Oh no, it doesn't sound weird.
so,
It sounds countercultural is what it
yes,
sounds like. But it is not weird.
yeah,
It is practicing slowness, smallness, stillness, all of those things are like I mean there's like data that shows those kinds of regular practices paired with connection with other people is like really what makes people feel fulfilled. It's
yes.
not, it's not big dreams. Like that's not what ultimately makes people feel fulfilled. So you keep doing your slow walks. I love
Oh,
it.
slow walks. That's what I'm gonna do. Oh, Kendra, I love this. Okay, so tell them when the plan comes out, where they can get it, all the details, how they can follow you. Your podcast is amazing. I'm basically interviewing like the podcast guru herself. So give us all the details.
That's very kind. That's very kind. So everything except for the plan, actually, everything is the Lazy Genius something. So if you just Google Lazy Genius, whatever, you'll find what you need. But the plan comes out on Tuesday, October 8th. I'm so excited. I don't think I've said this in a couple of interviews and it always feels a little bit silly, but it also is so deeply true, is that I feel like that this book is like why I was put on this earth. Like truly, not I mean, being a mother and loving my people and all that, but professionally, like from like a larger standpoint, like my story paired with my personality paired with my giftings, like all of these different things with how I see the world. I just feel so excited about this book because I think it's legitimately going to change women's, especially, but people's lives. And we need it so much to just feel like we can be ourselves where we are and still get our stuff done. It's
Mhm.
not just like, rah, rah, you can do it, which we need, but also we need principles, we need strategies, we need somebody to give us pep talks, to be our hype squad. We need all of those things. But I feel like sometimes um, this sort of, it's either one or the other, and I just really excited about people having practical ways to be themselves today and to
Mm.
still get their stuff done. And I'm just so pumped. So October 8th, it's like we're already going to a pizza place, go to my favorite pizza place that night. Like I already got plans for
Oh,
the day the book comes out. I'm so excited. It's such a celebration. So I can't wait. So you can get it anywhere. And I read the audiobook. Some people ask about that, but I am the narrator of the audiobook. So if you're a listener, you can get that one if you want.
I love it. And we will make sure to link everything in the show notes. Honestly and truly, it has been such a pleasure to get to interview you. You truly do make us all think just a little bit differently, make us be a
Thanks.
little more curious about our lives. And I think that does make such a difference. So thanks for making a difference in this world. And thanks for being here today. I really appreciate it.
No, thanks for having me, Erin. I appreciate it too.
If you liked this episode, it would mean so much if you'd share it with a friend or leave a quick rating and review so others can find our show. Until next time, you can find me at Simple Purposeful Living on Instagram and Facebook.